When it comes to the weather, we get it all here in Connecticut. Heat waves in the summer, blizzards in the winter, and everything in between. And when it comes to Connecticut's weather, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who studied it more closely than News Channel 8's own Dr. Mel. In fact, he's written the book on it, Dr. Mel's Connecticut Climate Book. And Dr. Mel joins us today on Connecticut Style to talk about it. Good to see you, Mel.
It's so nice to be here, Chris.
This, I know, was a labor of love for you putting this book together.
Well, it was a labor. I'll tell you, this book, the Connecticut Climate Book, it took 2.5 years, close to 3 years to write. And of course, you know, folks who know my schedule and know that how are you?
You're a little busy.
How do you get the time to do this?
Yeah.
Well, you know, usually it was written, somewhere around midnight to 1 a.m. on a Saturday night. Until I couldn't stand it any longer Sunday morning.
When you're on TV, on News Channel 8, you're predicting the weather. You're telling us what's going to happen tomorrow. Why is it important to look back at what happened yesterday and last year and decades ago?
Well, let me just tell you, the last time any book was written about Connecticut climate was back in 1965.
That outdated now?
Yeah, that's nearly a half a century. And, you know, the weather, the climate has changed over the last 50 years. And I thought it was really important to be able to put it all down. But not just to put down statistics, which are there.
Right.
You know, record highs and record lows, frost dates, how much snow we get, and but really tell the story in terms of people, and tell the story in terms of what has happened in terms of our history, going way back till the day the Pilgrims landed on these shores. And every major storm, every snowstorm, every flood, every drought, every heat wave, you name it, it is all here, and it's told in a narrative form.
Well, that's just it. The first part of the book is the narrative form, but for folks who like numbers, and there are so many, and you get the phone calls and the emails, people love to know about the weather. They want to talk about it. They want to know the statistics, don't they?
Yeah, and so all the records are there, you know, for every single town in Connecticut, in which there are records that extend over a long enough period of time to make these numbers worthwhile.
And that's hard to find, because normally we hear about what it's like at the airport. We don't get those numbers for all the small towns.
I know it, I know it. This is from all the towns that we have good records from across Connecticut. And people who live in these towns, you know, can go and see what their record high is for a particular day, or, you know, record precipitation or snowfall. Is
there some value in knowing those things for the average person who maybe wants to kind of play amateur meteorologist to some degree?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's nice to be knowledgeable. Also, it's nice to see the changes that have occurred, because we have had changes over the last 50 years.
What do you think, if you could sum it up, what's the most significant change that Connecticut's climate has undergone in the last 50 years?
Well, you know, the interesting part about it is that there has been a warming that we have shared with the rest of the world, but the changes are very erratic in Connecticut. And while, you know, you really have to look closely to see that warming, the warming is masked quite a bit by the great variations that we have from year to year and from season to season. And lately, within the last couple of years, we've actually had a cooling.
Well, I was going to say, coming off this past summer, people are going to say, what are you talking about, a warming? We haven't seen the warm weather, save for maybe a couple weeks.
And I go into that a bit, you know, dealing with climate change and some of the theories of climate change and some of the problems related to those theories. But that is only one part of this book. The other reason why I wrote this book was so that I might be able to raise funds for the Multiple Myeloma Fund, which I have begun at the Yale Cancer Center.
Which is so important to you, I know.
Yeah, and not one shiny penny of profit from this book comes to me.
Right.
It all goes to cancer research, to Dr. Mel Multiple Myeloma Fund at the Yale Cancer Center.
All those hours at 1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, that's what it's all for.
Listen, I was diagnosed 13 years ago with this disease of bone marrow cancer, and I was given 2.5 years to live. And here I am, 13 years later, and people are saying, Dr. Mel, do you really have cancer? And the answer is yes, it has not been cured, but there are treatments. And there are more and more treatments that are coming online. And so the purpose of trying to raise these funds is to develop the types of medication and develop the types of therapy that exist now and will exist even more so in the future.
Well, we're lucky to have you here. You're kicking off your World Book Tour coming up next week, right?
Yeah,
RJ Julia Madison.
It's a party. It's a book party. And everybody is invited to join us. It's going to be at RJ Julia, 7 p.m. Thursday, the 10th. And I have to say that our News Channel 8 crew,
our family
people,
here, right?
Our people are going to be there. I mean, Sonia is going to be there. Desiree is going to be there. I know Chris, you're
I will be there.
Yeah,
Dr. Mel.
yeah. I mean, Sarah will be there. We're going to have everybody.
And we're kicking off the book tour.
And so it's a meet and greet sort of thing. So come out and
help raise some money for the fund as well. For the
Jocelyn, Keith. I mean, we're all going to be there.
Dr. Mel, thanks so much for being here on Connecticut
pleasure.
Style today. Dr. Mel's Connecticut Climate Book. All right, coming up.